You are now listening to Talk Your Jits podcast.
Welcome back to the Talk podcast. This podcast is, as the name implies, all about Jiu-Jitsu. I'm your host, Lamar Smith, and today's guest is a blue belt who trains at 313 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, located in Detroit, Michigan. Ladies and gentlemen, Annie O Neal.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
What's going on?
Not much. Just hanging out on an off day. Really leaning into that recovery time. Train hard, recover harder. That's what I believe in. So that's pretty much it.
That's the only way to be.
Right.
Can you hear me?
What's that?
I said, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, good. I thought it cut out. But yeah, let's get it cracking. If you want to introduce yourself again, by all means, and let's hear about your jiu-jitsu journey.
You know what? My name is Annie O Neal. I am a professional ring announcer, and I've been involved in the wrestling industry for about 9 years. And then I never had any ambitions to become a professional wrestler. So naturally, I transitioned into something that I've always been interested in, and I finally just got the courage to do it. So my journey in jiu-jitsu began at a really interesting point in time. So right when the world was shutting down because of COVID, it like a lot of people had a lot of things that they were dealing with that were very, very painful. But actually, it was quite transformative to me because when you couldn't leave your house, we went to the park and did jiu-jitsu. Ken Short, who owns Westside Jiu-Jitsu in Westland, he brought his mats down to Elizabeth Park, and a bunch of people came from all over Michigan, and they started rolling in the middle of a beautiful park. It was I'll never forget it. Just the serenity of that day. It always sits with me. I actually lost my dad at the beginning of COVID.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
It's okay. And I wanted something positive to do with the grief, and I think a lot of the experiences we be given to, they define us as human beings. So, what was I going to do to adjust with this shocking thing that just happened to me? A lot of people just they cope differently, and I didn't want to go about that grief in a traditional sense. I didn't want to shut myself off in the world and withdrawal, and I wanted something, I wanted to honor the who he was, and he had a hard life. So and we had a lot of people, they don't have good relationships with their father. So it was at a point where I didn't want to be angry. I didn't want to sit with this this grief in my body. I allowed it to change me instead of making me making me something that I'm not. That's not how I wanted to spend my time. And especially like during COVID, that was something that changed, and it would change to everyone. There's not one person on this planet that wasn't affected by COVID. And thankfully, mine was both. I mean, it was transformative. I experienced the gamut of the human experience, and who didn't. But and it was my first experience ever in a combat sport. I had and I'm very uncoordinated. So, and and I just wanted to, why not? Why can't I? What's stopping me from doing something I've always wanted to do? Everyone has these things in their head that I can't do that. That can't be me. I'm like, but why not? So, here I am just wanting to do something positive and make something beautiful of this pain I'm experiencing. And I'm an artist. You're an artist. You know what the artist emotions entail, but that was kind of a shift in my human experience, stepping on a mat, just stepping. And when I got off that mat from that first experience, I was a different person. I had that day changed everything for me. And just the women who were involved in that experience, I've always wanted a community of women like that. And the women in the community jiu-jitsu is like, it's a sisterhood, and it's beautiful, because all of us bring something different to the table, and we each contribute in beautiful ways. And Kelsey from she trains with Dion Thompson in Toledo, and she's a brown belt now. And she lovingly and patiently explained how to do the mechanics of a triangle. And I have no idea. And I'm using my body in a way that's completely foreign. And she...
I'm sorry. One second.
Sure,
I'm sorry.
sure.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's all good. It's all good.
All right, please continue.
Sure. I met amazing women on my first day in jiu-jitsu ever. And Katie Priest and Kelsey from she trains with Dion Thompson in Toledo, and she's a brown belt now. And these women, they invited me into what felt like this sacred experience. Like, if it was like that moment when Indiana Jones was looking at the Ark of the Covenant for the first time. Like, that's what I felt, when someone rolled with me the first time. And they were just and Kelsey was so lovingly patient as she tried to explain the body mechanics that make a triangle. And my body was just like, what are you doing? We've never done these things before. And it's just, like when you start awakening that muscle memory for the first time, and like you learn these things about you that you didn't know that you could do before. And it's just so exciting. And just to really nurture that or foster that that creativity as an artist, and transform that into your personal being is just amazing. And it changes you. It's like, for the first time in my life, like I came online, and then that was the first training experience I've ever had. And, it was just people getting together in the park. And then that following Monday, I signed up at 313. And
nice.
And I've been training ever since. So it's crazy that in June, it'll be 4 years. It's
wow.
Yeah. I got my blue belt about a little over a year after training. And then that's it. That's pretty much where we are right now. I'm a blue belt, and I train as much as I can. And my friend Katie Priest, my friend Katie.
I know Katie. We had her on the show before. Yep.
She is the creator of Ganja Grappler, and I am the voice of Ganja Grappler. I announce for her, and it's just wild that two of my greatest passions, they crossed over. I don't know if you've heard about Grapple at the Temple.
Grapple at the Temple, yeah. I was going to mention that.
Yeah. So, you want to ask me about Grapple in the Temple? Go ahead.
No, I was going to mention because I forgot how long we've been friends on Facebook. But yeah, I did notice that you do the ring announcement for wrestling. I saw you do a grapple at the
Yeah.
temple, and also for Ganja Grappler. So I'm curious, like what's more like nerve wracking, like
Mhm.
training jujitsu or doing like announcements?
Oh God. Both I do for distinctive reasons. I
Mm-hmm.
have um I didn't know how much anxiety I've lived with all my life until I actually started
Mm-hmm.
stopping and taking a second to really examine what I live with in this meat suit. And
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I've lived a lot of my life disassociated. And,
Mm-hmm.
in high school, I really wanted to do theater. I'm a closeted uh, uh, theater kid. And announcing was my way of forcing myself to do what I've always wanted to do, because you
Yeah.
either go for it or you don't. And
Mm-hmm.
you do it when you're afraid, but nothing like announcing, when I'm in a room full of people and they're just like waiting for me to talk and speak, and like I'm up front and center,
Yeah.
and the spotlight's all on me, and they're like, a room full of people are like, what is she gonna say? And
Mm-hmm.
uh and I love it because it forces me out of my comfort zone. But jujitsu awakens like that primal instinct that makes you feel like you're a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Things you didn't know that you could do with just proper body mechanics and physics.
Mm-hmm.
um, but both engage me in completely different ways. But it's in either way, like it both trigger that flight or fight instinct. Both make you come online. Like um when I'm in the middle of the ring, like my fear of, oh my god, I'm gonna mess up, I'm gonna say the wrong thing, but then you have to keep going. But you're in
Yeah.
the middle of a round and you're like, oh shit, I got hurt before in this particular position, but here I am. I'm faced with something I've experienced in the past. What am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to am I going to let this fear overcome my body, or am I going to go forth anyway? Like what?
Right.
Um, but honestly, both are different beasts of their own. But I definitely feel jujitsu brings out my favorite version of myself. But honestly, I would have to say announcing. But yeah, for sure, it
Yeah.
would be wrestling. The
Because
announcing.
I know, like, doing the podcast, you you meet all these people,
Sure.
and I talk to people all over the world, and it's especially like pronouncing people's names, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
like, yeah, granted, I'm recording, so I can, if I mess up your name, I can just redo it, edit it, and you would
Right.
never know. But you're walking on stage, you're in front of hundreds of people, and you
Right.
gotta nail it.
Oh my
So it's
god.
like,
Oh my god. I have speech delays. So like
Mhm,
when the alliteration is in a word and it like Captain Crunch, like sometimes like something like that will make me stutter.
yeah.
And wrestling fans are ruthless. They don't care. They don't care. So, and in fact, like the more that they know they can get a reaction from you, the more
Hmm.
they're going to exploit it. So, like, you're right. You have to own it,
Yeah.
because you either own it or you get humbled. Like, and people are unforgiving. They
Yeah.
really are. Like, I've had, like, and I had to learn, like, no matter what, you can't please everyone. So
Hmm.
I do things for the love of myself, and I love doing it. And conquering a fear of mine, like that's a gratification I get out of doing it, because not everyone can get between those ropes and hold that microphone. Like it's
No.
more than just reading cards and introducing people. It really is.
Yeah.
but
Because you
I've
have to
had
set the tone. You have to set the tone for the match.
right, and I'm a highly vibrational person. Like I get really into it. I'm very over the top. And I've had people like they've heckled me for
Mm-hmm.
misspeaking and like and then I'm introducing someone and then they'll make fun of me and then I have to go on as if I didn't hear it. And then once I
Right.
finish announcing the match, I'll get out between the ropes and I'll go up like right front and center and I'm like, "Do you want to do it?" And they don't expect that from me and like
Mm-hmm.
kind of pushing that being like a reflection for that type of behavior like I'm not perfect. I am a human being, but
Mm-hmm.
they don't I don't know why. It's a part of the show. You can't control someone wanting to heckle you. They just love getting a reaction. but
Right.
um but when like they get it, they receive their behavior back a little bit, like they kind of change. They're
Yeah.
like,
Real
okay,
quick.
yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I shouldn't be who I am. Maybe I should change for the better, but yeah, I mean, that's life, going on with a sense of humor, and
Yeah. You
hmm
got to. Because I mean, same thing with the podcast. Like I'm not. I don't know what to call it. I don't know if I'm like a social person, but I
hmm
don't really care to be social with
hmm
people. And
yeah,
it's like, dude, you're talking about talking to random people.
hmm
Over hundreds of hours of talking to random people that I've met like 2 seconds on Facebook.
right,
So
right,
it gets a little like, okay, I hope I'm giving that energy. I
right.
making it comfortable for the person that's
Mhm.
that's taking the time out to talk to me. So I can see how that could be like, ugh, you know.
Right. And especially like when people are closed off, like how do
Hmm.
you manipulate your energy to bring something out of them when, they want to talk. They clearly want to talk. Otherwise they wouldn't have agreed to come on your podcast. But like,
Right.
because I host a podcast too.
Okay.
And, and that's an art form in and of itself. Like, how do you bring that out of a reserved individual who they've done a lot of cool things but they don't they don't know necessarily how to engage with an audience.
Hmm. Yeah. That's so true. That is so true. And it's just it's like that with jujitsu as well. You have to be true to yourself. You have to just give it your all. Like
Mhm.
like you said, it will show. The mats don't lie. So you can talk all you want, but if you can't back it up,
Oh
you're in
no,
trouble.
and nothing like jujitsu humbles people like that. If I've seen the biggest baddest guys, they get I feel like they get humbled the quickest, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
I'm a big believer in that you attract the energy that you emit,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I feel like that's just how the cosmic scales balance, when I feel like the more I've like chased a promotion, the more it actually set me back, like the more it was actually a repelling energy.
Yeah.
If you don't put the consistent work in, you don't yield those results. You know, um,
Mm-hmm. Because it takes more than just quote unquote time
sure.
to you know to rank up.
Hmm.
It takes um a lot more than what people think it
Hmm.
takes to get a belt. Like you get people that's been a certain color for 2, 3, 4 years past what the quote unquote minimum requirements are, and they're like, oh, why am I not a brown belt, or why am I not a purple belt, or why am I not this? And it's like, what are you necessarily doing?
Hmm.
Like, it's one thing to like show up. are
Hmm.
you are you giving it your all? Are you
Yeah.
teaching? Are you
Right.
are you are is it affecting you the way that it's supposed to? So a
Right.
lot goes on with it than just like you said, without just
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's get out of jiu-jitsu what you put into it. It's just that
Absolutely.
simple. Just
Um,
that simple.
one of those, and one of the best things that jiu-jitsu has gifted me is, you know, the people in my proximity. Like, I stopped looking at promotions that my friends get as, well, it promotes like healthy competition. Like I'm reaching forth to be like them. What are they doing that I'm not? You know, because I feel like in jiu-jitsu we're all on different timelines, and it doesn't matter because you will things will come to you when you're ready for them. And one of my greatest examples of that, my friend Ashe Knight, she's an amazing jiu-jitsu practitioner, and she got her blue belt more or quicker than I did, and that's amazing because she trains a lot more consistently than I do. She also has been wrestling way longer than I'm not a wrestler, you know, and she has more in her training experience. But the fact that she is going forth and training despite everything that she's ever gone through, because she's, you know, who doesn't go through the ringer in jiu-jitsu? All of us experience so many different things. But she's such an amazing role model, and she paves the path that she does. And I just like, through everything that you could imagine, she progresses forward anyway. And she got the promotions when she was ready for it. And my experience is not her experience. And but we're still on the same path concurrently. And I still have my blue belt, and I will get purple when I'm ready for it. As long as I train, it doesn't matter what anyone else does. It's Anne's journey. Anne's doing it for her, you know. And you know, she and Ashe got hers before, you know, I did, because that's just what our experiences are. You know, I'm walking like, I can't I'm not in the place in my life where I can train as consistently as she does. And that's amazing because I will get there when I'm ready. And
you'll get there when you get there. You'll get there when your time to come.
And it took me 27 years to find jiu-jitsu. And you know, I entered that timeline when it naturally made itself available. And you know, and the timelines still cross with Ashe, and I just think that's just so amazing because things are cyclical, you know. And I'm
we
and
had
she
a
just
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, she just won double gold at Pans in Florida.
And, nice, congratulations!
First competition as a purple belt, and I'm just completely proud of her, and I just wanted to give her that shout out. So yeah, go ahead.
But I've had that conversation so many times with a few students. Like we had one guy, he got his purple belt. Was it last year? Got his purple belt? Or anywho, but he did, like, because we test for our belt, so we know techniques, our principles and philosophies, and so on and so forth.
Nice.
So he's flying through it, you know, very, very technical, you know, breaking everything down. And another guy who he recently just got his purple belt at the end of last year, he was so freaked out, like, man, I don't think I can do my test like that. And we're like, of course you can't, because that's not you. You know, you are developing your jiu-jitsu the way that you are. We're not expecting you to do the same test as the other guy did. You know, that's like you're saying, like, you've been training for so long, somebody right next to you been training just as long, and you're like, oh man, I'm still this one color, but they're like 2 belts ahead of me, and they started way after I did. But then that's the thing you have to think about. Are you committed as much as that person? Not saying that you're not committed to the time that you are able to give. Some people are able to give more. Like I'm able to train 3, 4, sometimes 5 days a week. Some
Mhm.
people can barely get one. Not
Mhm.
saying that my jiu-jitsu is better. I just happen to have a time to be a little bit more consistent than other people.
Right. Right.
So that's just as all it is. It's just you gotta let whatever you can work for you versus trying to
Mhm.
walk someone else's path, because that's already been walked, because it's it's someone else's.
And I feel like that thwarts the whole point of jujitsu. It's
Hmm.
um any time on a mat is a good day.
Yeah.
I moved from a point in time where I was training 5 days a week, and now I can only afford to train 2 days a week. And you know, but I have so many more things that I need to do with my time, and I would love to be on a mat 5 days a week. And I will come back to a point in time where I can do that, but there's so many different parts to the moving whole, and
Yeah.
just being realistic with my schedule, my needs. Um, you know, for me, jujitsu changed my body, and I wasn't doing responsible things to, keep up with my joints, conditioning, and I feel like I worked myself into a deficit, and I didn't incorporate any mobility, and that's something that I need to do to enhance my training experience.
Because you were off the mats for a minute, right?
I was about 9 months, and I
Yeah.
I intentionally did that.
Okay. Okay.
Um, because I was, for me, I was going to jujitsu so much that I felt like it was reckless. I felt like
Mm.
um I was using the art form as an escape, and I mean that, and that's not. I don't think training is a replacement for mental health needs. I can lose myself so much that I'm not grounded, and then I start avoiding the things that I'm going through, and then it becomes something that I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be imbalanced. That's something that's really important to me, and you know so I was, just not in a healthy point in my life, and I got hurt. I dislocated my knee a second time, and
Oh.
yeah, so I see a lot of people who don't take the time off that they need, and then they work themselves. Something that takes 3 months becomes a year and a half,
A year and a half. Yeah.
and I don't. If injury is an inevitable part of the process, I'm going to take the time off and invest in the habits that I need so I can healthily train, so I don't take that time off. So I had to learn how to, and I feel like and I got back in the gym, and I produced mad results. So like when I dislocated my knee a second time, I was 130 pounds, and I was not eating. I was very depressed, and I was kind of, honestly, I was living as a shell of myself, and that's
Mm.
quite the opposite of what I project. Like, I'm loud, I'm vocal, I'm vibrant. So at that point in time, like, I was just not in a healthy state of mind. So if I really wanted to see my black belt one day, I feel like I needed to be more responsible with my training experience. So, if you love something, you have to let it go, because eventually it'll come back to you, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
you just will
Yeah.
always be there. My time off the mat and getting back into, or going through physical therapy and completing it. I'm trying to be a good example, we are. So I feel like that's also a part of, my human function, just being a good example. But
Yeah. Gotta be.
yeah, like I really want I practice what I preach. You know, I want to be in alignment with my words and my actions. So, you know, injuries are, if they're a part of the training experience, you know, I have to love myself enough to correct what I can, and, you know, build up, you know, my strength and my body, you know. Otherwise, I don't want to be raggedy when I get to my black belt. You know, I want to be strong.
Yeah,
I want to be vital. You know,
and be able
because
to enjoy it.
with yes, exactly. And you know, and on a fundamental level, delaying gratification is a huge uh, fact of jujitsu. You know, you start as a white belt, and you're not going to get to black belt overnight. It's just
No,
impossible. So
unfortunately, this takes time.
exactly,
This takes
exactly.
time.
I mean, you you've achieved yours. You know what it was like. You've lived your journey.
Man, I mean, luckily, gracefully, I'm still walking it,
Sure.
but just to kind of touch bases on what you were saying earlier about, you get to this point. I've had these conversations with myself so many
Mhm,
times where I'm like, okay, I train as much as I do, but am I doing it for the right reasons?
mhm, mhm.
Am I doing it just as an escape? Granted, it's addicting. You like
Sure.
that, you
Oh
like
my
that
god.
rush, you like that,
Oh
you
yeah.
like that feeling that jujitsu give you, but at the same time, it's like, are you taking time to take care of your body the way that
Right.
it's supposed to? Are you resting properly? Are you eating properly? Are you recovering properly? Or are you just go, 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 go?
Mhm.
Which I've been doing, just being like, up in the morning, go to the gym,
Yeah.
at night training, up in the morning,
Right.
go to gym training. It's like, all right, dude, let's bring it down a little bit. Just bring it back a little bit. So I've been trying to find a little nice little balance in between
Mhm,
of all this commotion going on and in this thing we call life. But yeah, you got to take care of yourself. You want to be able to enjoy what you're doing for a long, long time.
mhm, mhm.
We were talking about with art. I love art, love drawing, love painting, everything else. I might go a year or whatever without painting, and it's like, that's okay. That's okay. Because I was cranking them out like, every couple months I was boom, boom, boom doing something else. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to start hating this. So let me just put my stuff away, take a step back, breathe, and I'll eventually get back to it.
Oh my God. And that's amazing that you say that, because there are days where, you know, after you, like you said, we have our highs and lows, and
Mm-hmm.
jujitsu is makes me so honest with myself. Like there are you know, points in time where I'm like, why do I do this? If I
Yeah.
feel like it, if this is what this makes me feel like, why do I do it? And the thing is, like, it's self mastery. Like I, you know, jujitsu puts me in that moment. Like, who do I become? Who do I become as a result of what I'm putting into this? Like,
Mm-hmm.
if I just feel defeated, and I just sitting in this place of, oh my god, just anger and dissatisfaction, why do I put myself through this? But the thing is, it's addicting, you know. And
Hell.
you know, you put yourself through the predicament. Like, who you know, you're constantly putting yourself through stress. And but once you pull something off that you didn't know that you could do before,
Oh man, it's like Christmas.
that's the moment of that, when you meet that, the satisfaction of delaying gratification. There's
Yeah.
nothing like it. And you just like lose yourself to become more of yourself. Because um you know, when when I entered my first competition, like I was doing things I never would have done pre-COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Like pre-COVID Annie, different person. um and you know, like I was at this point in my life, like I'm either going to do it or I'm not. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go all in. So my first competition ever as a white belt, like I didn't know that I could unearth this level of focus that um, I had laying dormant inside of me prior to this
Mm-hmm.
point in my life. And when
Yeah.
I first signed up for this competition, you know, I wanted to see if I could drop a weight class. And that was something I never thought, like, why would I need to do this? Like, who is
Mm-hmm.
this person? Like, she's dedicated. She's on it. Like, she has goals that she will go to no length to surpass, to like get what she wants. And
Yeah.
just like learning that power, you know, of that,
Mm-hmm.
like it's you fueling that drive, and like you're moving that meter, like that meter that, you know, 0 to 60 in 0.2 seconds. Like it's crazy. But you know, I wanted to see if I could do it. So why not
Mm-hmm.
try?
Yeah.
But I dropped 10 pounds by fasting. And you know, it changed me. Like I did I want to say I did like a 24-hour fast. And you know, like that takes
Mm-hmm.
some dedication. It's now
Yeah.
I can do that easily, but like
Easily. Yeah.
but when but I've never conditioned myself to do anything prior to that point in time. Um
Do
and
you think? Do you think you would have been able to do something that like that if you wasn't doing jujitsu?
I didn't have the intention.
Mm-hmm.
I, you know, I got in the gym. You know, I was a gym, you know, a gym addict prior to jujitsu, and like that was where
Mm-hmm.
my passion, you know, lied in weightlifting. But jujitsu, way different animal, way
Wait,
different.
beast.
Had the like, it was honestly like a spiritual awakening, like learning to control my hunger through
Mm-hmm.
something that made me really uncomfortable, and like
Mm-hmm.
that proved so much to me. Like, I didn't know I could do this. And I only
Yeah.
want to see what else I can accomplish.
Yeah.
And it, and like, jujitsu was just so expansive in my awareness and the way I related to everything. Because if I can control
Yeah.
my emotion in the moment, I can control anything.
Anything. Yeah. I that's a constant battle that I have with myself where it's like I've as time goes on, there's been so many things I've started and
Mhm,
stopped and started and stopped and whatnot. But literally, jujitsu has kind of been one of the main things I've been consistent in.
mhm.
We're talking almost 7 years. I maybe missed maybe a total of 2 weeks of training
Wow, that's
on
amazing.
prior to COVID, being a shutdown. But other than that, I was there, class. I was there. I made sure that no matter what I was doing, I had my Tuesdays and Thursdays available for me to go train.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's like, man, if I can put that much effort into make sure that I'm consistent in training
right,
jujitsu, I know I can put that I can do everything else.
right.
But I don't think I don't think I would have been able to figure that out if I did not start doing jujitsu.
So what did jujitsu give you that allowed you to do those other things?
Man, where do I start? But
Right. I
but it
know, right?
just I've learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about how I learn. I learned how I adapt to things. I've learned how I process information and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Because with like we're talking about in jiu-jitsu, it forces you to focus. Like you have to focus. Like you can't be out there trying to roll and you're like, man, I shouldn't have ate that today, or what I'm going to eat today, or man, I wonder if what's the name is doing and blah 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 blah. Because once you start doing that, you're like looking up at the ceiling, and everyone looking down, and you're like, dude, you got choked out, or you almost got your arm or leg broke. So it forces you to be like, all right, when I walk in this door and
mhm,
I put this
mhm,
gi on, this is where my focus lies. I can't let outside stuff bother me anymore. I'll be on, like, there's been times where, me and my wife might be going through some stuff,
Sure.
and I can be on my way to class driving, and we're talking. By the time I pull up to that door, everything stops.
Yes.
Like, the conversation stops.
Yes.
Like, we'll finish this later, but right now I need to put all my focus on this. So, and that's how I've been. Like, I've been trying to, like, merge that into my everyday life. Like, where it's like, okay, dude, if you can, sit down and focus on jujitsu like this, do that everywhere else. And it's like, it's a slow burn. It's a slow burn, but it's getting there. It's getting there for sure.
I can't agree with you more. Because once I go up the blue stairs, everything else that occurs on the outside of that door, like, it doesn't matter. It matters, but that's suspended because who I become on that mat allows me to facilitate everything else that I'm asked of on a daily basis way more. I've faced certain things as a woman where I've been through things that gave me this physical anxiety that escalates so much that I deal with. It changes your brain patterns. And jujitsu has helped me regulate those things because I have to focus.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I have very anxious thought patterns. So if I constantly believe an outcome that hasn't occurred yet, I lose it. Like, then everything will always be the same. So I have to learn how to, control that stream of consciousness. Otherwise, like, I lose focus. And what can I do within my own brain space to bring my focus back to the present? Because, if I'm learning the lesson and I'm only half tuned in, it's going to yield similar results. And also on the same, like, I have ADHD, undiagnosed ADHD. But if I think really quickly, and if I misread a detail, the whole sequence of the lesson is
thrown off.
Right.
Gone.
Right. I have to control the squirrel brain, and that's one of the biggest objectives that I face in jiu-jitsu. But it's fun, and it's the challenge that keeps me coming back. When I have to force my focus and I overcome something I didn't think I could do just by focusing, it's amazing. It's like,
just kind of like, give you a prime example of that with myself. So I've been training more, training as much as I possibly can, but it just seemed like recently I really started to, like, figure out my game. It took 6.5 years, but who actually figures out their game anyway? But I've always been a big fan of, like, the scissor sweep, push sweep, and butterfly sweep.
Yes.
And I've had a couple of, good successes with it in live roles, but I've always found myself, like, missing something.
Yeah.
And I told myself, I'm like, okay, if I'm going to start playing how I play in my guard, I need to figure these sweeps out. I have to figure these sweeps out, because I'm always get here. I always, if I get on bottom, I make sure I at least play for my guard.
Right.
If anything else. So I'm just going. I'm just drilling. I'm just going. I'm just shooting up every single sweep I can to try to push out there. And it's not being successful. And then I was like, all right, what am I missing? What am I missing? What am I not grasping? But then a couple of days ago, I'm rolling, and something just clicked. And I was like, oh, all right. And I just noticed like these last few times where I've been more successful with my scissor sweep and my butterfly sweep from guard, and it's like, oh, this is nice, you know.
Yes. It's like that
But
moment in when Gollum gets the ring. He's like,
right, it's
and
like
it's
gracious, like I
where,
got it. Right.
right.
Yeah,
He made-
it's funny that way. It's funny that way. But that just shows you how, it made me proud of myself because I was like, all right, I was able to hyper focus on this help, in a healthy way, whereas like
right.
I'm starting to develop more things. And now that I'm understanding this, I was like, okay, let's see
Mhm.
what else we can build off of this and whatnot. So
And
wouldn't be able to do that without jujitsu.
and I feel like you that's just something that keeps you so honest, because if
Mm-hmm.
you don't put yourself in that place of vulnerability, like you asked yourself key questions, and it wasn't it wasn't a strike to your ego. Like, you have to constantly question, like, what am I doing where I'm not yielding the results I want? What is missing
Mm-hmm.
in my understanding? And that has to come from a place of awareness and mindfulness, because, like you said, if you don't put yourself in that position, you're not going to learn. You'll always be in that scissor sweep or that butterfly sweep, and you're not going to pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's why, like, the repetition of going and going and going is so important, because that muscle memory is layered, and it's it's laid it one layer at a time, and it takes years to cultivate that, because there are so each time you step on a mat, you're a different person. You're
Mm-hmm.
operating from a different level of understanding. What you
Mm-hmm.
could do on day one is different than on year 3655. Like, but it's just a continuation of the progression, and that's
Yeah.
something that's it just because I I'm one of those individuals who can just keep going and going
Mm-hmm.
and going, and it doesn't matter how long it takes me to do something. It's my determination the and I like restructuring my mental thought, or my processes, to get me there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that patience, it has to be forged. It's an active skill, because you not only do you have to have patience with everything in the world around you, like, a lot of us have ADHD that make the learning processes difficult. We have different things that in our experience that we don't compute the same to our training partner. So having that, you have to be patient with yourself, and I'm still learning that every day. Every day I step on a mat, I'm still learning that lesson. Like, the more I want something, it's probably going to take time,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to get it the first time.
You're not.
So I can.
You're not. It's that's a very, very great mentality to have. Is understanding that, like, it, things takes time. No matter if you're going to the gym once a week, twice a week, three times a
Mhm,
week, it doesn't matter. As long as your level of consistency is greater than it was last time. So like
mhm.
if I'm able to go to class just every, once a week, every Tuesday, you make sure you do everything you did better than last Tuesday, and so on and so forth. Because like with me, when it comes to like my hyper focus and how, addicting stuff gets, once I start and I'm at the point where it's like like going to the gym and stuff consistently, I can't sit down.
Right.
I can't sit down. Whereas like right now, like I said, I'm at the gym in the
Mhm,
morning, and today, the school that we partner with, they got kickboxing, so I'll be
mhm,
doing that before jujitsu.
mhm,
And even after jujitsu, I'll be sitting like, I feel like going to the gym. I want
mhm.
to, just go run on treadmill for a half hour or do whatever. And I get that my training partner's looking at me like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm in a good mood. I love, I'm loving how everything is feeling. I just want to get it while I got it.
And that's something that it bolsters my self-esteem.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I can do what I can do against my opponents who are 100 pounds heavier than I am, what can't I do?
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer of my body will do what my mind projects it to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I've overcome things I probably shouldn't have just by believing that I could.
Yeah.
If I have the mentality of a high level athlete, I believe that I'm programming my body to perform that way.
Mm-hmm.
But granted, we're all working with different things in our bodies, but like, and I really do feel like moderation is very, 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 very important because I burn out very quickly. And my goal is to bypass that thinking and just do the things I can do with the amount of time I have while I can do them. That'll just add to that, that determination. Because, when I've tried to lift heavy and do jujitsu, like I have too much muscle mass and I'm slow. And then I compromise my agility. So it's just a constant process of trial and error. Like, how can I manipulate this outcome to produce or how can I manipulate this experience to get the outcome out that I want? And it's like, jiu-jitsu makes me feel like a mad scientist. It really does.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, it's jiu-jitsu is a very unique thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, we all got the same foundation when it comes to jiu-jitsu, but the outcomes are always different, depending on the person. Like we both can learn the same techniques, we can both, go to the same school, but our journey is always it's gonna be different. It's gonna differ in some form. But it's like we said, as long as you're being consistent and you're being honest with yourself, which is a major thing. Screw your ego, screw your pride, be real with yourself, be honest with yourself. If it takes you 5 years to learn one technique, so be it. Like me, like I said, I can't tell you how many times I've repped the scissor sweeps and all that other stuff, and it's just now starting to click. And that's okay. And that's okay. It is what it is. I'm not mad about it. I'm impressed with myself. I was like, okay, we finally got it.
And it doesn't mean you're still not going to try.
Right. I'm still gonna throw it out there.
Do it. Like, oh my God, you did it. Like, there are like last week, I had a panic attack on the way to class. And I'm not really sure what caused it, but sometimes, and this is just being fully transparent because that's just what I believe as a human being. But I'm also not going to retreat because I easily could have stayed in bed despite how I was feeling. And it's important to me to carry onwards no matter how I'm feeling, because sometimes we don't always get the opportunity to choose how we feel. If I only did jiu-jitsu on the days I feel strong, I would never do jiu-jitsu.
I would never do jiu-jitsu. Right.
I would never do jiu-jitsu. And that's just facts. So I love that my professor, he starts with 3-minute rounds because I only have so much time in the morning before work. And I usually have to leave early to get ready. But I got my rounds in, and then we were working on the sacrifice throw. And for some reason, my body just did not want to cooperate that day. My mind was predicting this outcome that probably wasn't going to come true. But in my head, like, oh my God, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to get hurt. I'm going to hurt my partner. And like when I'm feeling like that, if I feel like I'm going to manifest that reality. Like it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
So, even though I was in a heightened state of awareness, and I was working on just doing what I could do, despite the fact I was feeling really anxious, and just being communicative with my partners, saying like, hey, you know what? I'm feeling this way. Could we modify this? Because I don't want to lose out just because this is how my brain processes life. I'm not going to remove myself from training because Annie's feeling a little anxious that day. And also my training partners are affected by that experience too.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave them without a training partner because I'm afraid. But also it's beneficial for the training partner too, because I feel like you have to learn how to work with everyone. We all bring different things and experiences to jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is diverse, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, and I love it. I love what jiu-jitsu is. I love what it has, where it has it is shaped into my life, and can't live without it.
I can't. Absolutely not.
Cannot live without it. Well, all right, Annie. We have to ask that famous question we ask everybody to come on the show. Became a staple of Talk Your Jits podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Past or present, your top 3 people you would love to get a chance to roll with.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. Crap. What's her name? She is. I want to roll with John Danaher's student, Helena Jiu-Jitsu girl.
Helena, oh my goodness, yeah.
She is. I don't really like saying they're just born to do something. Like, there are people who are natural talents, but I feel like she was born to do jiu-jitsu. Like, just the way she moves and the way that she processes her fight IQ is fascinating. And
yes,
I would love, like, I learn from everyone. There's young, old, no matter who you are, I feel like there's something valid I want to learn from. And she excites me. And she's one of the reasons why I step on a mat is just, just to be that example of a strong, powerful female force who is present in the jiu-jitsu community. Kind of. She is a brown belt. She trains out of Colorado. Her name's Stephanie. She's a she trains of okay, I'm gonna look her up really fast because
go ahead.
How can I identify who I want to train with or roll with if I don't know their Oh no. But I met her when I started following strong female jiu-jitsu practitioners when I first started training, and she was one of them. Oh no, I don't. But Jillian Robertson, I would love to train with her. She's on UFC. She's fiery red hair, and she's lethal. Like, lethal women, they excite me because I just want to be like them.
Yeah.
And I just think she is a huge example of you don't know what someone's capable of. Just because they appear a certain way doesn't mean that they're not strong, they're not powerful, that they don't have the capabilities of standing things aren't always what they seem, and I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love Keanu Reeves. That's probably I love Keanu Reeves. I love who he is as a person. I really don't get into pedestalizing rich people just because they're in movies and they act and everyone loves them. But I would love, because I feel like he is one of those people, who've achieved a certain level of success, but he's still connected to who he is as a root of a person.
Yeah,
Like,
he's still human.
that's it. And
Yeah, and he shows it. He shows it. He shows it
right.
a lot.
But yeah, I think that's who I would love to, train with. So
Good list. Good list. Well, unless you got any other questions for me, Annie, fire away. If not, shout out to school. Let the people know what you got coming up. The floor is all yours.
I am at Chaos Wrestling this weekend. I am announcing. I will be announcing for Ganja Grappler in June. There's a big show coming up. Shout out to at Ganja Grappler, Katie Priest. She is one of my closest friends. I am the podcast host of Bumpin' and Thumping. We are on Mice TV. We stream on a Roku channel.
Nice.
Shout out to Tony Dixon. He's given me amazing opportunities. FU Wrestling, May 18th in Wyandotte, Michigan. April, I want to say New Edge Pro. The show, I think it's the third week in April. I'll be announcing there. Find me, Annie O Neal, on Facebook. At Annie Are You Okay on Instagram. And pretty much it. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, make sure you guys follow her. Like I said, I don't know how long we've been friends on Facebook, but I definitely been following you for a minute, and I love your energy, and I didn't know you were into wrestling like that. I mean, I knew you were a fan, but I didn't know you were like announcing everything, which is beyond awesome. But yeah, I love what you're doing. I'm excited to see what you got in store, man. And when you down the line, come on back and we can definitely talk again.
Yeah, absolutely. My next belt promotion, I'll hit you up and we'll do this all over again. So
yeah, we're on
awesome.
On it.
Lamar, thank you for everything. This was a blast.
No problem. Thank you. Well, that's the end of today's episode. I would love to thank Annie one more time for coming on the show and blessing us with her jiu-jitsu knowledge. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to stay up to date on all future episodes. This has been Talk Your Jits Podcast. Keep rolling, keep grinding, and remember, long live jiu-jitsu. Have a great day.
Bye.
All right.